Welcome, golf fans, pursuers of knowledge and the almighty dollar. This is your golf guru bringing you the Palmetto Championship. These are my money picks for DFS lineups. And of course, also at the end, I will give you my favorite bets. I appreciate and thank you for stopping by. And I'm going to go into all the analysis on the guys that I'm picking. This field that started off not so great has gotten a lot worse. You've lost Charlie Hoffman for qualifying for the U.S. Open. You've also lost Brandon Grace, also for the U.S. Open qualifier. You've got Danny Willett, who just withdrew here recently. No clue on why he did. But anyways, just, it's going to be a little different. We're going to have some different guys that we're going to be looking at. But the good news is I think this is going to be a great event for multiple high odd guys could win this thing. So I'm going to be betting quite a bit more probably than doing a lot of DFS. But I'm definitely also going to be putting my lineups in also. So that's just my quick kind of open. And let's get into this. So first off, this is the last day for you to qualify for the U.S. Open giveaway. And what this is the $100 entry for the 2.25 Milli Maker. All you need to do is subscribe if you are not a subscriber. Like this video. And just tell me who you think is going to win the U.S. Open below in the YouTube comments. I'll put all you guys in there. And I'm going to get random generated 5 winners. Then I will notify all you folks via YouTube comments to get your PayPal email address, wire over the funds to you, and then of course you can put it in this, which I hope you do. I think it's 25,000 entries. You're going to be one of them. It gives a little better chance than the other one, but of course use the money however you deem fit. Okay, and then if you missed my previous show, I always just quickly go over again what I'm looking for from a kind of best player profile. And the first thing, I'm looking for guys that are really good on approach and ball striking. Like them to have some distance, also hit fairways. I'm asking quite a bit, especially out of this field, but this is what I'm looking for. Looking for guys around the green, sand saves, ability to scramble. Of course, longer course, they're going to have to hit the longer irons or hybrids better. So the proximity depends, 200 plus, 175 to 200. Stroke gain on long par 4s, because we have 3 500 plus ones. That's a little unique. Also, par 3 efficiency. There's 4 of those. And then you got the 3 par 5s that are going from 575 to over 650. So with all that said, that's the kind of guys that I will be targeting. And let's get into the analysis. I think that's a good segue. Okay, so I'm just jumping over to Fantasy National Golf. Again, I'm not affiliated with them, but I just recommend it if you are really getting into doing some deep dive analysis. I think this is a great tool. This is what I've been using for many years. On a side note, there's not a lot of information from a course-to-course perspective. So last I checked, they didn't even have, let me just go look. Nope, they still don't even have the course loaded on here. Typically, any tournament, they're going to have the course information, past history, all that stuff. But because this is a one and done, I think a lot of places are just like, hey, we're not going to go through the effort of getting this all loaded in. Maybe after the fact. With all that said, what you're looking at here is I've got no filters turned on. What does that mean? I'm not trying to break down by, grass type or length of course. I just really want to look over the last 3 tournaments or 12 rounds, what these guys been doing. And then I create like what you want to call a mini model, which you'll see their rank over here on my mini model. And then on this one, I always put in, I think the #1 kind of key to winning this tournament, I think it's going to be the proximities from 175 to 200 is the one that I'm going with. And then over here, you can see recent results and tournament history. Now, there's no need to click on tournament history because there's going to be none, again, because it's a new event. And then what I'm waiting is, again, we talked about approach and ball striking, driving distance. You're going to notice that I don't have fairways gained because, out of the stats that I really want to look at, I think around the green and putting is going to be more important than if you hit every fairway. I think you can get away, again, very large fairways, and then you're just rolling off into, a sand area that should be pretty firm. It's not going to be like what we just saw at Memorial. So with all that said, also all this information is looking over the past 12 rounds. So the first 2 guys that, we look at the top, of course, is DJ and Brooks Koepka. And I'm going to let you know right off the front, the narrative and my thought process that I'm going with is that 2 things. So Dustin Johnson, his form, of course, his recent form has been bad. I mean, missed the cut at the PGA, which I called that. Missed the cut at the Masters. His best showing has been a T13 at RBC Heritage, which he's had some good showings there in the past. Now, with DJ, either he could come out, take this very serious, and he's worked really hard on his game, to win this Palmetto Championship. So you could say, well, he's number one in South Carolina, home state. I like DJ. Fine. What I'm going with is everything that I've seen and what I think I know about DJ is that he's here out of an obligation that he made. He's going to be here to get some, competitive swings in, but does he really care if he wins the Palmetto Championship? I'm going with no. So I'm going to be fading DJ. And also, as I've always stated, it's very rare that I ever play from a DFS perspective the number one guy. And you can see his ownership right now is, going in at 15%. So the next one you go to is you got Brooks Koepka coming in at 11-1. And I made the mistake back at the Byron Nelson of actually picking him and thinking he would come out. And then it dawned on me, what are you doing if it's not a major? Brooks takes these events with a grain of salt. It's it's almost preseason games for him as far as I'm concerned. Now, from a model perspective, he ranks out, as you see, the best, even though he's not really gaining, strokes on the 175 to 200. But you can see approach, ball striking, distance, everything we want is hitting. But I don't think Brooks is going to take it serious. A lot like DJ, I think he's coming in just to get a few competitive reps. I think he feels like if he makes the cut, maybe almost if he misses the cut, it's almost better case so he can head over to Torrey. And I would feel that way with DJ. I just think these guys have no skin in the game for this. Why they could give a crap if they win the Palmetto Championship. Now, if they go out and put together two amazing rounds, are they going to, try to close it out? Yeah, why not? I mean, still FedEx points. It's still, millions of dollars. But ultimately, I just don't think they're going to do the prep work. And ultimately, I just don't think they care. So then the next person we come to is Matty Fitzpatrick. And really, he just doesn't fit the player that I'm looking for. He's missed the cut at the Memorial, the Byron Nelson. He's had, the last showing was at the RBC, which that was actually his best showing, was a T4 at that one. But yeah, it's just not the guy. So really the first guy that I'm going to be starting with, and also on a side note, usually I have competitive tournaments and courses that I put these guys through. We don't have, I didn't go through that process because really there wasn't a lot of courses that even fit. I mean, I'm going to look at a couple, but just to let you know up front, that's why I didn't show that or go over that as I usually do. Stick with me on tournaments that are not a one-off. I will always have at least 5 or 6 competitive tournaments that also helps me kind of get to my final selection. So anyways, now Terrell Hatton could also come in here with the same kind of mindset, but I kind of feel like, he hasn't had a win. Oh, geez. I believe it was what? It was at the Schwab, or was that? I always get him and Berger mixed up. So the API was his last win. So that was March of the previous year. And I think Bay Hill is not a bad comparison course. It's got the water. It's got the length. It's also Bermuda. So that's not a bad comp course to look at. If the one that I'm just kind of interested is the Open, which is, of course, the British Open. And you can see, since 2016, he's had pretty good showings there. And also the narrative that I'm going with these guys is I like the European guys. I think they played more of this kind of style of golf courses. They can hit the bump and runs. They don't have to fly everything in like typical American golf. Unless you're from Texas, typically, you hit the really high ball fade. You try to stick it behind the pin, suck it back. So I just, I'm kind of leaning a little bit more towards the European. If we had more Australians in here, I'd be all over the Australians, but we just don't have them really in the field. So that's my first guy that I like, Terrell Hatton. Harris English, you know what? He's had little spurts of showing. So since he won the Tournament of Champions, he went in that big downward spiral. He's showed up at the Masters, kind of showed up at the Byron Nelson. Not that great at the PGA, but, made the cut at Kiowa, which I think is actually a great comp course. It's just a lot of these guys didn't play Kiowa. But we'll look at the PGA. But long story short, I like Harris. I think, again, you got to remember this field. It's anybody's ball game. You can see he can putt on Bermuda. Let's look at his approach has gotten back a little bit. You can see it's been off a bit. I mean, at the API, he had a 29. So it's, again, pretty good reference point. I think the API, if we pull up the Open, and you're going to see it's kind of the one I'm just going to take a quick glance at. He's at a 15th. Nothing amazing for the British Open. Just trying to see if there's anything else. The U.S. Open, he had a 4th. That was another decent showing. You can see he had this really nice little run of golf. Oh, and the CJ Cup. I should look at that. I forgot to mention that. So I kind of mentioned in my preview show, Tom Fazio stated that pretty much this is Shadow Creek, which he also designed just in a low country setting. And so the CJ Cup, I think, is also. So we'll look at API, CJ Cup, and the Open. How about that? We'll just run those reference points. So everything from that side fits okay. We'll just put it that way. I think not too bad. And then I already know that Terrell Hatton at the CJ Cup, he came out, and I think it was a leader after the first 2 rounds. Just I think he got off a flight from a European event. We're not expecting a whole lot, and I don't even know if the guy saw the course before that. Yeah, I ended up having a third, but I know he just like the first day shot like 7-8 under. So, hopefully he returns to that form. Moving down the board, Sungjae M, just, you can see he's been so off on approach. Now, he's been a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde, right? He came out, he had a 17th at the PGA at Kiowa. He had a T29 at Valspar, but, he had 3 missed cuts sprinkled in there. His approach has been way off. His putting's not where it used to be. Now, Sungjae M used to putt pretty well on Bermuda. So, again, could this be his tournament to come out? It definitely could be. That's Sungjae M. So, but right now, I'm going to go ahead and skip. And I'm going to go with someone that actually, I've been fading quite a bit over the past year, and that's Tommy Fleetwood. Tommy's never won on U.S. soil. Has had his chances. I think at API, he had a really good chance. He is a master from this kind of distance. That's one of the reasons why I like him. He's really good around the green. He's played a lot of golf. And then if we look at, real quickly, his Open experience. So let me go find that. In 2019, he was the runner-up, of course, behind Shane Lowry. He's at a 12th, a 27th. So he can play these kind of style courses to run it, kind of roll. Also, if we look at the CJ Cup for him, yeah, he had a 59th, nothing great. And then what about API? I guess I won't be able to type that out. So the Arnold Palmer, this is the one I was talking about where he almost, we thought he was going to win. He had a 3rd, and then, of course, recently he had a 10th. So, I think things kind of align here, maybe for Tommy. So I kind of like that angle. Ian Poulter, been putting the lights out, good around the green. Again, another European guy that has played a lot of this golf. Now you can see he's not hitting this area that I like so much, but he had a T3 here recently, had a T30 at the PGA. Played Valspar. Yeah, I kind of like what Ian's bringing to the game. I just want to go check what he did at the CJ Cup real quick. Let's go take a look. So, yeah, he had a 12th there at Shadow Creek, so that's a good showing. What about the Opens? A couple missed cuts. He had a 14th a while back. Can't really count that. And what about Arnold Palmer? He had a 26th recently. So, again, just bouncing off a few different courses. I like him. Paddy Kazire, funny enough, he ends up 2nd out of this whole field in this model ranking. I've been all over Paddy. He had a misfire last week. I've always said, for some odd reason, I'm always a week or 2 early on my picks to win a tournament or to be, right up there. He's been producing a couple T3s. I'm going to talk more about him, of course, on the favorite bets. You can see from this distance, he's been doing very well from 175 to 200 proximity. His approach has been great. Ball striking, driving distance is there. Now, hitting fairways, that's a different question. I already know that. He can get a little wayward. Around the green is a little bit, but his putting makes up for that. So I like Paddy Kazire. Again, I'm sticking with it. I know if I jumped off that train, you can see also Bermuda is his best surface. But what I was saying, if I jump off that train, that would be exactly when Paddy Kazire would go ahead and break through and get the win. His outright odds, I think to win it, I did bet him, but I think it's like 45 to 1. Nowhere near what we were getting. But again, this field is so weak. The CJ Cup, that's not the one I want. He did not play in the one at Shadow Creek. Not a whole lot of experience at the Open. And what was the other one? Arnold Palmer, he had a 57. So from my comparable courses, it's not really working out. But from everything else that I'm looking for, sticking with Paddy Kazire. Of course, Garrick Hagel, I talked quite a bit about at the PGA Championship preview show. Of course, he had 2 wins at Canary Island Tour, or, the Canary Island Swing for Europe. He had like a T4 or a T8. So really great results. He had a great Sunday at the PGA. Kind of struggled the other days, but, made the cut. The guy, as I mentioned, can bomb the ball. He can get super hot with the putter. these guys play quite a few courses like that over there on the European Tour. So, you know what? It's a ridiculous, I think, price for Garrick Higgo. But again, the field is so weak. And, who knows? It wouldn't shock me that he comes out and, minimum has a top 10 in this tournament with what we have as a field. So I like Garrick, and there's not a lot of, I know he didn't play any of the tournaments that I want to look at. So there's nothing else I can really show you there. Alex Noren, kind of going to take a pass. He's had 5 good showings. Nothing I could say. I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't play him. A little weaker on distance, but, an approach. Just not exactly the guy that I'm looking for, but you can see he shows up 17th out of this field. Killer Keith Wright had a great show, and actually, Wells Fargo is not a bad. I think I mentioned in my preview show, if you put in over 7,400 yards, par 71 Bermuda, the only course that will show up is Quail Hollow, where they play Wells Fargo. So, I can real quick just go back and see. Kazire had a 58th at Wells Fargo. Ian Poulter missed a cut there. And Tommy had a T14. Harris English had a T43. And Terrell Hatton did not play in the Wells Fargo. So just real quick, just so I think that's not a bad, another you could use as a reference point. But like Killer Keith, right? He's got the distance, good ball striker, good approach. Just it's all about the putter. If we go just look real quick at his putting splits, I'm just curious. So Bermuda, out of all, you can see he's negative across the board when it comes to putting, but Bermuda has been his best surface. He's almost neutral. So there's a positive. And again, Wells Fargo shows up that might be possible. So I just wanted to see at the Wells Fargo. Yeah, he gained 3.5 stroke on Bermuda. Seeing Byron Nelson. Pretty sure that was TPC Craig Ranch. I don't know. Let's go take a look. Maybe it'll tell me. It was bent grass. Okay, so we're not going to count that. Okay, we can see. Let's go just quickly and see if he's got. So Arnold Palmer, he had a 43rd, but it has played that track very well in the past with a 5th and a 6th. So that's a good showing. What about the Open? He's only played there once in 2019, missed a cut, and then the CJ Cup. That's not the one I'm looking for. So, okay, just want a couple more reference points. But I like Killer Keith. Lucas Smell the Glove Glover. Of course, I already mentioned. And you can see, he'll probably end up being the Super Chalk Bomb. He's already 20%, 21%, but, the guy has the most experience on this course. Of course, he is the only PGA ambassador that I know for this course. Wells Fargo, he had a miscut, but, had a T8, had that hot swing in Texas. We can go look at that real quick, and then I'll also look at the CJ Cup. Let's look at the CJ Cup off the bat. Let's just see. I thought he played in that one. What about the Opens? He had a 20th in 2019, so that's pretty good. Just seeing anything else sticks out to me. The Honda. The U.S. Open, he had a 17th. So, yeah, overall, I think with this field, and a guy that knows the course and should be able to get himself around it, it's actually not bad. I outright bet him to win. I can actually tell you who I outright bet, just so I don't forget. Him. I have Tommy Fleetwood outright. I got Patty Kazire, of course. I don't think I pulled the trigger on Harris English. Anyways, just some of my outright bets, just so you know. Harold Varner, everything lines up, but I've always told you guys there's a few players that are my kryptonite, and Harold Varner is one of them. When everything looks like he should do great at a course is when he'll miss the cut. And then everything like RBC Heritage, where I don't think that's a good course fit for him. He went out and had his best finish ever on the PGA Tour. So there you go. But he missed the cut at the Wells Fargo. But you can see from this 175 to 200, I think out of all this whole field over the last 12 rounds, he's gained the most strokes in that area. Good on approach, great ball striker. He's got distance, not bad around the green. It all comes down to a putter with him. If he gets a hot putter, he can rock. And you can see Bermuda shows up over his lifetime as the worst putting surface. But, take that for what it is. He's just a bad putter. RBC Heritage, I guess let's see. So that's funny enough. The best putting round he's had, maybe forever. I'm just scrolling down real quick. Travelers. What was that, Ben? I think that's POA. That's on the West Coast. So you can literally go back to like 2019. So the Travelers and at RBC Heritage was his best putting he's ever had. So and he gained a little bit at the Memorial. So he's had some bright spots with the putter, I guess we'll say. So let's just hope he keeps that up. And sorry, I keep bouncing back and forth. Let's see what he did at the Arnold Palmer. He had a 21st recently. I think Wells Fargo said he missed a cut. What about the CJ Cup? That's not the one I wanted. And what about, I don't think he's ever played. He played in the Open, but way back in 2016. So no real reason to worry about that one. Okay, trucking along. I thought about Brent Snedeker. I just think the driving distance is going to be a pretty strong factor here, so that's why I'm off. But not a bad idea to pick him for a first-round leader. Put a few shackles on that. I would guess he's getting, I don't know, 75, 80 to 1 for a first-round leader. I didn't pick him for a first-round leader, but you can see Johnny Vegas actually doesn't rate out too bad from a model perspective. Again, I've always thought Johnny Vegas and HV3 are just like almost identical players where I think they're, both have kind of the same skill set. And if they ever putt, which is rare, but if they ever do, they could be very live. Russell Knox was a guy I mentioned last week, is a different option. So there's a perfect showing, right? 6,100 last week at the Memorial, and now he's 8,200 this week. So that shows you the strength of field. Scott Stallings, he showed up big time at the Wells Fargo. I know he only ended up with a T43, but I think he had that crazy Sunday. Let's go look at that Wells Fargo, what he shot. He might have had the best round that day. I'm just curious now. So this is for my own. What did he end up? Scott Stallings. Okay. Well, okay, I was totally wrong. I flipped that in my brain. He had a terrible showing on Sunday. He had a good showing the first 3 days, so I apologize. I don't know why. Who actually shot the best round that day? Of course. So I got to scroll down because there's a lot of miscut people. Abraham Answer, that's right. Shot a 66. Hovland had a 67. Hammer and Hank Laboda is in this field. Someone that you might want to look at. Okay. Anyways, Scott Stallings, I like. He's got the length. He's been putting well. He hits from this distance well. He's had a pretty good recent, results. So for that price tag, I got to swallow it. But again, we're paying a high premium for, if you want to call it mediocre or mediocrity. I already mentioned Danny Willett pulled out. Luke List, had a couple of miscuts recently, but has done well in some of these kind of typical, long length courses, right? He's got the distance. Just a great ball striker. A lot of these guys you're going to notice, it's all going to come down if they can putt or not that week, and that seems to be the case for quite a few of these guys. Bermuda's his second worst surface, I guess you put. His last good putting round was at Wells Fargo, and he also had a 6, so that was part of the reason what put me on Luke. Good showing at the Valero. Had a 63rd at Arnold. I don't think he played in the CJ Cup. Let me pull up. I don't know if he's ever played in an Open. He did. He had a 39th in 2018 and a miscut. And we type in CJ Cup. That's not the one I'm looking for. Arnold Palmer. He had a 63rd, but has played that track, Bay Hill, pretty decent in the past. So yeah, anyways, I like Luke List. He fits the player profile I'm looking for. Just can he putt? Rafa Cabrera Barrel, the distance thing makes me a little, but he's been, popping up there. You can see he's had some really good recent form. Again, I think I bet him outright. Pretty good odds. I think it was 80 to 1. And also the first round leader because he's been having those crazy, first rounds. If we look, I believe, maybe at the Memorial and the Charles Schwab. Let me go check this out. So he was 37th. I just want to see what he shot the first day. Yeah, he had a 68. Morikawa, but he was pretty close. He was a first-round leader because I think he went out early. So Morikawa led that. And then if we look at the Charles Schwabi, and I didn't see where he ended up, but I think he was somewhere up here. Okay. Not the best first round. It was actually, I think, the second round. Charlie Hoffman shot that 62, but Rafa Cabrera Bello shot 66. Then decided shot at 67 on Sunday. So he's been having, the guy was always an elite ball striker. It comes down typically the putter with him too. So not a bad play. I'm leaning towards Marty Lair. You can see, out of this field, leading on approach, ball striking, killing it from 175 to 200. He doesn't really have the driving distance, but I don't think that's not affecting me as much. He's kind of like middle of the pack. Around the green is a struggle. Had pretty decent results. Right, he had a win, I believe, at the Shriners. But he's a Scotsman. Again, I think will feel a little bit at home on this course. He does gain on Bermuda over the life of his career. At least gained some strokes. Funny enough, at the Memorial, he lost everywhere but with the putter. And let me see if I type in Shriners. Yeah, so that was in October. I'm trying to remember as Summerlin's bent. But it is a par 71. Not the same length and not really the same, but in the desert, kind of. So, I don't know. Maybe pull some comparisons together out of that. Let's see. I don't think he played in the CJ Cup. What about the Open? Miscut in 2017, but had some experience there. What did he do at Arnold Palmer, 43rd, and then Wells Fargo? He had that's not the one I was looking for anyways. But he had, so yeah, long story short, I like Marty Laird this week. Neesmith, typically the model always loves him. So again, I really can't fault you for whoever you go with. Like I said, I think this is going to be such an interesting leaderboard when it's all said and done. Vincent Whaley actually comes with 4th on my model. He's been playing amazing golf, a lot of top 20s. You can see his ownership's already, pretty high at this price. But he's doing everything we like. Not the greatest from the longer distance. If you can see at the Wells Fargo, he had a 22nd place. I am 100% sure. Oh, and Bermuda is his best surface. So that's a positive. What did he do at the... he didn't play the Arnold Palmer. I know he didn't play in the CJ. There's not going to be a whole lot. I don't think he's ever played in an Open. Let me just scroll through here and just take a quickie look if there's anything that pops out at me. Sanderson Farm is actually, I'm not saying he did well there, but it's not a terrible comp course. CC of Jackson. Also, the Houston Open isn't a terrible comp either from a distance perspective and kind of layout. Okay, but I'm on Vincent Whaley, and I think that rounds it out. I did have a lower, but yep, that's it. So I'm going to go, let's jump back in. I'm going to summarize this, and then we'll get out of here. Okay, so to summarize my top 5, my Fab 5 picks, I'm going to go with number 1, Tommy Fleetwood. A lot of these picks, I can't believe I'm going to be saying this, but with this field and what I'm seeing, hey, it'd be great. Tommy meets everything I want. Used to be a very elite putter. He's been kind of on and off with the putting. So if he gets his putter back and can just hit the fairways, he's going to be dead live from that long distance in. Good player. I mean, fits his style, of course. Could be his first win. I'd like to see it. I used to play a ton of Tommy, 3 or 4 years ago, hence why I lost quite a bit back then. But you know what? I'm back on him for this week, and hopefully, Tommy gets Fairway Jesus, gets his first win. Terrell Hatton, same thing, leaning towards the European guys. The CJ Cup, I already mentioned Shadow Creek. He went out there, lit it up, had a 3rd place finish. It's all, if things go well for Terrell Hatton and he stays in a good mood, a little bit like Rahm, could easily win this tournament. Patty Kazire been knocking on the door, hoping he could break through. Be a nice win for him. Ian Poulter, I can honestly say I don't know if I've ever picked Ian Poulter ever, and even with a value play, I don't think. So this is a first, but he's been playing pretty good golf. You also got the Ryder Cup coming up, so a little extra for him wanting to, show good for Padre Harrington, who I think is actually in this field. So we'll see how that works out with Ian. And then Garrick Higo, the guys, it's not going to shock me, and you're going to see, I think I missed, but we'll talk about it in a second. Garrick Higo actually, so a young talent out of nowhere win this tournament. It's not going to shock me. My next 5, you got Lucas Glover, the local guy, PGA ambassador here, knows the course, been playing some good golf. I like him for a top 10. You got Killer Keith, who did great at the Wells Fargo, got the length. It's all going to come down to the putter, but he has putted well at times at Bermuda. Also has done well at the Honda, which is you could use as a, of course, that's where his win was, so could use as a comp course. You got Scott Stallings playing some decent, solid golf. He's got length. It's been putting well, so yeah, I guess definitely see where Scott could come in the top 20-ish. You got Party Marty Laird, Scotsman. I think, again, has been playing some good golf. I think he could do well here. And then you got Harris English, where, it's been kind of Jekyll and Hyde up and down. But out of this field, I mean, he won the Tournament of Champions, which is like the best 40 guys. So, hey, man, just put it together again and go out and win. Then my last 5, I got Luke Liss, the long-hitting great ball striker, can't putt. You got the exact same right here with the HV3. Popping the champagne, maybe that's a sign he's never had a win on the PGA Tour. So, maybe this is it. And you got Vincent Whaley just playing amazing golf. We're definitely paying a premium, but out of this field, hey, we got to stick with the guys. You don't have the history, so we're going to go with recent form. And you got Joseph Bramlett, which I did not go into Bramlett, and also I did not go into Pack. But Joseph Bramlett's just playing really great golf. He's super long off the tee. I think he's a great play. And then Pack, actually, let me jump over. I've got a little bit of information. So if you don't know who John Pack is, let me educate you. Okay, so John Pack recently just graduated in senior year at Florida State. If you don't know who this guy is, he is the next Morikawa, Hovland, Wolf. The guy is just a phenom coming out. We haven't seen him a lot. I would have to guess he's played here or there, but he's a Jack Nicklaus Award, Ben Hogan, Fred Haskins, #1 ranked on the PGA Tour University. He's won 8 times, which I think is like a record setting. So the guy is just, short of it, is a phenom. You've also got, I believe, Davis Thompson, who's also the #1 U.S. amateur playing in this tournament. So, you know what? It isn't, for the quality, I look at it almost like the Will Z. If they come out and don't know enough to, have an issue and just go out and play golf, they could easily, if worst case, play him as a top 20, top 10, but I think he's a great play. Kind of expensive, but, again, just a weak field. Okay, and then last but not least, my favorite bets. No shocker, I got to stick with Patty Kazire. I'm going with him on the first round leader. I've also bet him, as I mentioned, outright, so I think outright's 45 to 1. First round leader, 60 to 1. I like that bet. Of course, I've already mentioned Tommy Fleetwood. I think this could be it. I'm not a huge fan of the odds, but again, with the field, but 25 to 1, I did make that bet. And my long shot to win this thing, and I think, I'm telling you guys from a betting side, and this is a tournament to, take a lot of long shots. And John Pack, I don't know if he's still 200 to 1 on DraftKings, but that is where I bet him. And I recommend just take a lot of long shots. I think, I'm not too scared about DJ or Koepka actually taking this too serious. Now, if they do, it's over. If they actually go out and really try to win and they do their prep and all that, there's no reason why one of those guys should not win this. I mean, you saw what Brooks did at the PGA. Comparable course, playing Kiowa. If the knee holds up, there's no reason why he couldn't win this thing. All right, that's it from my picks and bets. I appreciate you spending some time with me. I hope that helps. Again, I think that this is a tournament that, you can take some chances on from a betting side. It's not like an elite, the Memorial that we just saw where pretty much the cream is going to rise to the top. I think anybody can go out and just really, have a great, 4 days on a course that nobody's seen pretty much except Lucas Glover and go win this thing. So take some chances. Also from a DFS lineup perspective, when I do my lineups, I'm going to try to differentiate. So I will be doing my ownership projections tomorrow, and I'm going to leverage that as probably how I'm going to build a lot of my teams, is just going against the chalk, because I think literally any 6 guys could really win this thing almost. All right, thanks again. Like, share, and if you've not subscribed, please do so. And also tell me who you think is going to win the U.S. Open so you can get in the drawing, which I will put out tomorrow. And if I can help you, as always, with anything, hit me up on the YouTube comments or on Twitter at DFS Golf Guru. All right, guys, thanks so much. I will talk to you tomorrow. Take care.